If you have original hardware, are you playing it in 2025? Are you actually hooking your Nintendo up to a modern TV? I'm really curious because about 2 weeks ago, hello and welcome to everyone who finds this video. My name is Lance. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how original hardware looks on modern televisions because it's not good. And some of the regrets that I have when it comes to getting rid of some of the classic consoles that had HDMI outputs. Interesting topic. Let's get into the video. About 2 weeks ago, I hooked up my original Nintendo. I think I have a 43-inch LED. I don't think it's LCD, it's LED TV. I couldn't believe how terrible it looked. And I hadn't hooked up the Nintendo for a long time. The last time I did was on a small little LCD. It looked halfway decent, but hooking it up to a larger TV, it was almost unplayable. You couldn't recognize Mario. I was playing the original Super Mario Brothers game. And it made me think back to about a year ago, I sold all of the classic consoles that I owned, all of them except the PlayStation. That one I'm interested in modifying to be an emulator, but I got rid of the NES Classic, the SNES Classic. I had the Genesis. Those were the main three. But what I remember when I was playing on the Nintendo, because it just plugs in HDMI and it had the option to do the scan lines, it looked so good, right? That was made for a modern TV. And when I sold it, I thought, well, I don't really play these, and I have an original Nintendo. I have Sega Master System, and some other old consoles. I just thought, why do I need these classic versions? I don't play them, and they're made by Nintendo, but it's not the same as playing the original hardware. I thought the original hardware was the way to play. But now that I hook it up today and play, it's like this experience is not the same at all. You'd need a TV of that era to really see what the system was designed for, to have that original CRT, tube TV, whatever that technology was, right? And I remember having in the early 2000s, I had one of those top of the line Sony Trinitron HD TV of that time, right? It was, I want to say it was a 32-inch or a 36-inch. It was huge, and it weighed like 250 pounds. It was this big, heavy, flat screen tube Sony television. It was silver, but it had all the inputs and all the games looked amazing. I remember I had original Xbox at the time, but I remember playing games like, is there like a 1080 snowboarding game and some others that they just looked insane on that TV, but also so did the other consoles. And I think that was one of the best TVs that you could play those kinds of games on. And it's unfortunate that they don't make those kinds of TVs anymore, right? You would think there's how many Nintendos out there? How many Sega Genesis consoles? How many original consoles are there out there that have those old connections, that need those old television sets to work? Yeah, there's ways that you can put an HDMI or get a better video quality out of them, right? But if you don't want to modify those old consoles, then that's really not an option, right? Maybe there's some sort of upscaling or something that you could do, but if you're playing on the original hardware because it's the original hardware and that's the experience you want, then trying to modernize the connections and hooking it up to a modern TV, like, it doesn't seem like that's the right direction to go. I do really miss having those classic consoles, and now I'm thinking about maybe trying to find that Nintendo Classic again and the SNES, because I do really miss playing Donkey Kong Country and Mario Kart. Those were two of my favorite games on that console. I never played Star Fox when it first came out, so the fact that there was a Star Fox 2 on that console, it would be nice to play it. I know that that's kind of the only way that you can go back and play that now. It also made me start to think, maybe I don't need to keep these old consoles, and maybe it's time to consider selling them. I don't feel like I'm going to get that same experience from those again. unless I were to try to find one of those old tube TVs. It seems like when I do see them or find them on Marketplace, something like that, they're incredibly expensive. And then also just the real estate that one of those would take up to get one of the bigger ones, like a 25 or 27 inch tube TV, then I'd have to have a dedicated place to put it, and then, kind of feel obligated to hook it up and play those games, and those games don't have any save states or anything like that. So maybe just the idea of having original hardware and physical games, maybe it's just time to move on from those. I would really like to get another one of those classic consoles. I think I'm gonna have to go on eBay or keep an eye on Marketplace and see if I can find one. So another thought that I had was Sony made that TV back in the day, right? That Trinitron flat screen tube style TV. Why hasn't, and maybe they have, but you would think that another manufacturer or Sony, right? Don't they make video games? Why wouldn't they make a tube TV for retro gaming? Has nobody ever thought of this before or had this idea that if Sony just put out like 2 different size tube TVs, I'm pretty sure that they could still do that. And that would be such an amazing thing to have to hook up your old consoles to. But I don't know that they'd ever do that. Everything is going in the direction of higher resolution, right? Smaller and more pixels. And so to sell a big device like that, I don't know that they would, but I think that there would be a demand for it in like the retro gaming community to have something like that. But I have no idea. Maybe they have explored that option before and it's just not something that they're willing to do. I don't know. It really bums me out that the consoles and games that I really enjoyed playing back in the day, you'll get close, but you'll never recapture that same experience. And maybe emulation is just the option that we have going forward. I remember playing on that classic NES, the resolution on the TV looked great, and then you could put the scan lines in, and the scan lines kind of like that closed the gap a little bit to make it look really good, still have that same kind of experience. Maybe that's the option that we have going forward. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you use emulation software to play old games? Do you have the original hardware for your games? Do you have one of those old TVs? Like, that would be really cool. But otherwise, like, if you've tried playing your original stuff on new televisions, man, it looks bad. It looks really bad. Oh, and a quick update. I am on day 4 now without social media. I know I haven't posted a video for a day or 2, but I still haven't been on there. So I have been watching a lot more YouTube videos to kind of fill that gap. And I do pick up my phone and go to open up one of those apps and they're not there. So deleting them off my phone, that was such a good option. The digital detox is going pretty well. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, make sure to leave a like. I'm working on a few more videos for this week. I have recently made a new purchase that I think will help move content along a little bit faster. It's something that I'm really excited about. I've been wanting for a long time and doing a lot of research. And I'll make a video talking about it too. So make sure you're subscribed and I will see you in the next video. All right, thanks everyone. Take care. If you made it to this of course you made it to this video if you're watching this far.